right, it's 4:04. Call the meeting to order of the DPW Facilities Building Committee. And I guess we'll start with an update from Weston and Sampson et al.
Sure. You want to start? Shall I?
I guess I'll start for a little bit. So I just kind of dragged this stuff over in case you guys are interested later or whatever. Here's the set of plans. We're out to bid. Filed sub bids were originally due this morning, 2 o'clock today, or whatever, sometime today. But we found out that there was another job where it was filed sub bids were due today, and that was the Middleborough Police Station.
Police.
So a sub bidder, a potential sub bidder, asked if we could at least postpone it some amount, which we thought it was in our best interest. One day wasn't going to hurt us. We didn't want to go any more than that because we got to give enough time to get the bids in and give it to the GC. So we extended the bid opening for the sub bids to tomorrow at 2 p.m. But what that helps is so if someone bids today on Middleborough and they're not a parent little bidder, they can, I guess, free up their bonding and they can bid us tomorrow, kind of thing. So
does that affect our deadline? I know originally things were put out, so in other words, we're still good for May 3rd?
Yeah.
Still holding the May 3rd, still holding the
GC bid
day.
The GCs had asked for another day, and we said no.
They didn't want it on a Monday.
They didn't want it on a Monday, which I don't blame them. It's a little, but it just doesn't give us enough time to turn around a recommendation.
We don't have time to burn on the other end.
For Wednesday, because we have to go before the board of selectmen on Wednesday to get a vote on the 5th. So, to get the bids in at the end of the day on Monday, later in the day, Monday, and then you can't pre-qualify, but then to put a whole budget together, we just want to make sure, because it's not all in that bid, there's other components to it, furnishings, et cetera, to put that in, contingencies, et cetera. So we wanted that time to do that, to work with Joe and Weston and Sampson.
The furnishings is a sub bid?
No, that's just a dollar value we're holding as part of the estimate.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, been very busy. Dan's been exceptionally busy. He can talk to that. For the filed sub bids, 2 addenda have gone out. One went out. The first one was Friday, Thursday or Friday. Yeah, Thursday, Friday last week. And then the second one went out yesterday, just cleaning up some odds and ends yesterday.
Right.
The filed sub bids are due tomorrow.
Yeah, that's done on a 48-hour minimum before the date and time of the bids. And of course, we got within about 49 hours, we got a cluster of questions from filed sub bidders, which you really want to answer, if at all possible, before the bid, because otherwise it becomes a change later on.
Or they have to number a little bit.
Or a challenge.
Right. It can be a challenge. We're trying to be as careful as possible to make sure that all the sub bidders have in fact seen both addenda. We're making a whole string of calls today to confirm that. And there's sort of a Keystone Cops thing going on with some of them who sent in their bid and then realized they missed the second addendum, and they're sending somebody down to pull the old one and put the new one in. But it's always an interesting process to see. But we're getting good response, and I think the ones that I've talked to are showing real interest, which generally means that they're sharpening their pencils. We hope that's the case. It's you don't know till it happens.
And they're really looking. You can tell they're really looking at the plans from the type of questions they're sending in. So
we get really very detailed and mostly pretty thoughtful questions. There's always a few stupid ones, and you answer them politely. Anyway.
Yeah.
But not too bad. And I was just counting today. I think we had on the registered list of pre-qualified bidders, we had about 70 between general contractors and subcontractors. Some of those are overlaps, so it's hard to tell if everyone is actually going to bid. But that's a pretty healthy.
Do you know how many GCs we got?
I started to go through them, and some of them I know, and I'd say probably there's got to be a half a dozen. Okay. Anyway.
How many?
Probably
half
more.
a dozen.
I'm going to say half a dozen, but I haven't really. I just
That'll
pulled this today
good
to.
cross-section then.
Yeah, I've got copies of this if anyone's interested. This is from our. You probably got these. Yeah, pass those out. This is from the Blueprint, Accent Blueprint, who's our sort of plan holder service, and they post everything and they send out an email when there's an addendum so that everybody's getting the same information. Pretty consistency. So I didn't mark that one for. There's a certain number of duplicates in there. You'll see that sometimes a company will download the documents and they'll make a separate request for printed ones, so they show up twice. And then there are 3 or 4 that are plan services, which we really don't, well, they're of some interest, but those don't represent the they don't represent the pre-qualified bidders, but they may be getting plans to suppliers who are going to be offering things to the general contractors.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good spread, and there's good response.
In your experience, good response?
I think so. I think it's hard to tell from the numbers, though, because, you know, since it's electronic and it's free, there's not much of an impediment to somebody just registering on the site, but at least we see who's out there.
Oh, yeah, I see Blue Book, yeah, that's a plan service.
Right, that's
Or
a
is
plan
that
service,
just-
and what you'll
like
find is that a
Dodge?
lot of suppliers to the general contractor will go there.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff that's not a filed or pre-qualified category will go there, so.
okay.
And
Oh.
I think most of our expected usual suspects are here, which
Which is good.
is generally a good thing, yeah.
On the other note, I just on addenda, is it not, so the 2 addenda that went out were really just focused on the sub-bidders, because that was key, because their bids are due tomorrow. But when we were looking for the first
The,
GC addenda,
we'll prepare it on Friday, review it, and then issue it Monday. And that, the first piece of information in that is the results of the filed sub-bids. So that goes out to the general contractors. They decide who they want to use. They're not obligated to use the low bidders. But they're going to make a calculated choice on how that fits in their overall pricing. And they'll list the ones that they want. And we'll see tomorrow if anyone is excluding general contractors, which is not uncommon. Sometimes the sub-bidders will limit their bid to a certain general contractor. In those cases, the bid's usually low, and you realize that there's a deal there that's been made. You don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
They're taking a certain risk
Approach.
in doing that, but
Right.
Because the protection under Chapter 149, the protection that's afforded the sub-bidders is obviously limited to the amount of their bid. And sometimes you'll see a $0 bid for a sub-bid category limited to a certain general contractor. And as far as we're concerned, if everything else checks out in their qualifications and paperwork, that's fine. It just means that we can't protect them if there's a contract dispute with the general. It's normal. It's not an unusual thing.
it gets complicated.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a
Mass
whole.
general law governs
You
it
know,
all, it's great.
I mentioned Keystone Cops earlier, and it really is. It's the results, it's the unintended consequences of good intentions that give us all of that. So
Yeah.
very fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll move on to item number 2, which is our public information presentations. Where we have,
Again, I don't have PowerPoint because
Oh, yeah, that's
I didn't
okay.
have time.
funny you should
I
mention that.
printed out some quick, I'll pass it out and I'll explain to you guys kind of where we're at and talk about what you want to do. This is just a draft of something. Tom Daly's ramble.
Thank you.
Oh dear, here we go.
Yes. So, the chairman, if you want me to speak for a minute here, Mr. Chairman, the chairman and I sat down in March at some point and talked about how do we want to go about presenting on April 1st to the Orleans Citizen Forum, which is probably our biggest outreach.
Well, the April 1st is the public
Oh.
information. The
Excuse me,
town
that's
hall.
our hearing.
Right.
Yeah,
I think the 5th is the citizens forum.
May 3rd.
May
3rd?
May
Oh, sorry.
3rd, the Monday, I think that
So
is.
for the public standpoint, who are watching this exciting show, April 1st, we're having a public hearing here at the town hall, and April 3rd, we've got the Orleans Citizen Forum.
Forum.
Okay, and then I think the presentation is going to be basically the same. So just, Mr. Chairman, you can just go ahead in a second. I'm just going to kind of show what I kind of did. So Peter and I chatted, John Fuller and I chatted a little bit. So the way we kind of structured this was, Mr. Fuller's going to go first. You can see on page 2, the top slide, Mr. Fuller's going to begin, go through a little bit of the history and talk about what delay costs are. And then Mr. Canine will begin, talk about the history a bit and some interesting facts, talk about the committee. And then I'll begin, I'll kind of talk about the need. We really kind of I don't want to say killed it, but we did kind of kill it at the Rolling Citizen Forum. We really sent the message last year, and for Peter's hearing, we don't want to be as long-winded this year, short and sweet. So this is, I kind of bang this together on existing information. So this is what I represent, kind of the need, cut down significantly the amount of slides in the past, and most of this I can do in a short amount of time, a very short amount of time. And then page 19, Jeff Alberti will get up. These slides are not updated. Jeff has not updated these slides at all. This is stuff that it's updated a little bit, but not really. Jeff needs to update. The models are updated in the plans, but the cost estimates, and that's up to date. It will be even updated further, I'm sure. But a few of Jeff's slides need to be up to date a little bit more. So, although Jeff's not here to talk about that today.
Or defend himself.
Or defend himself, right. So that was kind of the general gist, and I sent this out draft to everyone who's going to be speaking. And so now tonight, we're here to talk about whatever you guys like, don't like, or however you think we should change this around. And I would like to get this wrapped and behind us.
Yeah. The only thing from my perspective is I think expanding a little bit on the history. I mean, quite frankly, some of this goes back to 1999 when there was a group that was first put together to address or to attempt to look at the previous former Con Electric building. And then again in 2009 there was another building group that was put together.
It's fine, I can add that back in, because we had that before.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yep.
I'll add it back in, send it back out.
Because I think it is significant history. I mean, this
Been at it a
is
long
our
time.
third time at this, so it's not like we haven't been here before. One issue that is has come up to me, and I think Tom, I know it's come up with you, is the cold storage.
Mm-hmm.
There's been well, I'll say a roving opinion that by more than one that what are we going to do with the cold storage? It was presented to me, quite frankly, as why aren't you guys coming forth with the entire cost of the project? And quite frankly, I explained to one person that queered me about that was we basically have covered that issue in that we have a facility that we can use as cold storage now, which is Bay Ridge Lane.
Right.
And I explained that that early on we had included the cold storage as part of the scope of work, but we had decided to delete it at this point only because for the overall budget for the project and probably more appropriately that we have other facilities that we can use for that. But part of that, obviously the existing solution to that is Bay Ridge Lane. And I think it might be helpful to touch on some figures that might be involved in securing that, if you will. I mean, we could, I suppose, move in there tomorrow, but there's a partition in one of those steel buildings that needs to be removed, and the condition of the steel building itself is it's getting tired.
Right.
It's 60 by 40. It's got a 12-foot eave height. I suppose, if we stayed there for some period of time, we'd want to at least repair it. And I don't know whether that's
the blue building.
The blue building, yeah. I mean, that seems to be the only practical structure over there that's really worth putting anything into. I don't know, maybe we do keep the existing highway bays, but
The vehicle maintenance facility piece.
But I think we need to have some answers kind of put together for that, because that's
Give me some thoughts.
is going to come up.
So,
And I think it's a fair question as well.
yeah, it's a fair question. With our selectman liaison here, and so the committee and the public knows, so we did a phase 1, phase 2 environmental site assessment on the Bay Ridge property. And surprisingly, it came up quite clean, unexpectedly clean. Borings and test pits, and we also did it on the facility, the buildings themselves, testing for asbestos and lead, and no issue with lead as part of a demolition project or whatever. It wouldn't be an issue. There are, I would say, some small amounts of asbestos, but they're in, like some sealant around one of the chimneys. Not a lot, nothing that would raise major red flags to deal with. So kind of my thought, and we've talked about this a little bit, has been that we utilize Bay Ridge as a cold storage facility. Mothball it, shut the water down, shut the heat off, keep the power on, but, if you're not there, you're not really using it.
Right.
Put the outside lights on, automatic
Motion
on off.
detectors.
Yeah, and, so just to keep the site secure, because we wouldn't have much of a presence there every day. But use that as a cold storage facility as such time until, the town, AKA the Board of Selectmen and the town decide what to do with Bay Ridge. Do we sell it as is? Do we demo it and sell it? Because there is a potential revenue there. And at that point, we'd have to vacate, and then we'd have to look at our other options for cold storage. But the good news is
It's available.
It's
We have it now.
available, and it got through a phase 1, phase 2 site assessment, which is great.
Are we using the compost building at all?
We will be out of the compost building. I think I told my guys we need to vacate the compost building by June 1, in case that the town meeting authorizes funding for the demolition, which will come up at this year's town meeting.
And the only thing we're using it now is salt?
Sand, salt, yeah, that's
Okay.
it. Sand, salt, some gravel, things
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a big subject of the previous iteration of this committee back in 2009. We looked at that.
Yeah.
Actually, we had looked at it as a potential DPW building, and one of the conclusions that we came to pretty early on was the fact that there was no, the building was big enough, but there really wasn't,
there's no yard, there's no
material storage or, vehicle and equipment parking and that kind of thing, so. And the other, maybe the bigger issue at the time was, it was being kept as an option for a wastewater facility or space, whatever you want to categorize that as. But I think the key issue is that we've probably been looking at the cold storage thing longer than we have anything else here.
Right.
But in that same, one of the options that's on the table would be if Bay Ridge was not available to us.
What would we do?
We had a number in there, or have a number, I don't know where we're at, but for, we were gonna do a fabric building for the cold storage. I think it would be helpful to
Update.
have some
Yeah.
reasonably current numbers for what that facility might be worth.
We can do that, and we will, we'll have actual bid numbers for
We'll have
the
bid numbers for the salt shed.
salt shed, which is a little smaller, but it's
Yeah.
a similar building.
Considerably smaller, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the construction is, the good thing, it's just simple construction. It's,
Right.
Take very little foundation
Right.
preparation, some site grading. a little
And we
bit of
still
drainage,
have a
and
space on the site plan.
There's a big space up there
That's
for.
devoted to potentially.
Yeah,
that-
it actually
that
works
thing.
out pretty well, and the access up around to that, it's a level probably, 6 feet above, 6 or 8 feet above
Salt
the
shed?
salt shed, maybe not that much.
Right.
But there's an easy way up to that elevation, and so there's really no constraint on putting that in.
If you could.
Yeah.
Fill in, and I don't know whether we put any potential numbers together for the so-called blue building.
My 2 cents on that is any cost that would be to mothball that facility and take down the wall,
Yep,
we would just do it in-house within the operating budget.
I'm thinking of the scenario, okay, it becomes cold storage for the next 10 years.
Right, now, if it's
Yeah.
something that's gonna be for quite some time, if at some point we wanna get to the point, the only thing we probably need is to be reskinned.
Yeah, and I suspect the roof is probably.
So that's something
got-
I can
but I-
talk to Mr. Tenney about.
I've got some
Yeah.
current numbers for both.
Yeah.
So
We're
we
looking
could
at
have some
another one
numbers
just
on
like
that.
Yeah,
And you can, it's like an old car. You can keep after the rust.
Yeah, I mean,
Patch it up.
yeah.
You're not gonna live in it.
Right.
I would put in enough, just some ventilation, keep the temperatures and humidity under control.
Yeah, I think it could be a
Yeah.
quick retrofit. I mean, you might get away with just coating the roof and reskinning the walls.
You
But
can do it depending on how long you want to wait until you have to do it again.
Right.
If
Right.
we do a new roof, you've got a 30-year roof. If we
Right.
patch it, you've got a 5 to 10-year
you mean the
cycle.
roof over? Is that what you're
Roof
talking about?
over, it depends. With those pre-manufactured buildings, you've got to be careful not to add any weight,
Yeah, okay.
because then you get into structural
Yeah, sure.
analysis and
Yeah.
upgrades.
And wind
So
loading's
it's-
changed and all that, yeah.
Yeah, the dead loads have changed and
Yeah.
all, so it's better if you take the old one off and put a lightweight new
okay.
one on.
All right.
But you can always patch what you have.
Yeah, I mean,
You can
coat it.
replace it in kind.
Yeah.
Yep, you coat it, and if it's got exposed fasteners, which a lot of them do,
Yeah.
you replace them, because it's the washers under those.
Have deteriorated to the
The
point where they
sun
lost their-
deteriorates them when they
Yeah.
start leaking there,
Yeah.
so,
And then it rusts.
then it rusts, right. And-
Okay, well,
Yep.
I think it would behoove us to have that thought
Sure.
complete. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to, John?
I would just say one thing, that politically, if nobody asks the question, don't bring it up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
Don't volunteer anything you don't need to.
Yeah, I understand
Because
that.
we're
Question,
in,
right.
financially, we're in a touchy period here in Orleans.
Yeah, I understand
We
that.
want to see this happen.
One of the questions that's probably gonna come up is the compost building.
Yeah, no doubt, I mean, that's, that's
Almost.
where, that's been the common,
It's just a question of when.
yeah.
Do you know
Okay.
how long these are gonna be?
The one thing we're not gonna do is make the same mistake we did the last time, which was,
Long.
too much talk and not enough time for questions. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's-
everybody heard that.
I would guess 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think we'd kind of like to, I kind of just roughly projected that we're going to be somewhere in the 40-minute, 45-minute for everybody's, presentation here, which should give, another half an hour, 45 minutes for questions. But that's kind of the time frame that we're trying to hold to here.
How big a group do you think will be there?
Well, last time there was what?
Hard to
You know-
tell.
You're yeah, it's,
Public hearing will probably be few,
yeah.
but the other thing will be pretty big.
Yeah, no, I would
People.
suspect, we could easily have 7,500 people
We had
maybe?
that last time.
Easily.
We had that last year.
Oh, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
We had a
Yeah.
good crowd.
Yeah, and I
Great.
can't remember, and we're gonna be doing this at a time where basically everybody's gonna be back here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's gonna be,
Right.
I think it's gonna work out well, both particularly time frame wise, and that it'll be current information for town meeting.
Got it.
And as I say, I mean, usually that group are the people who have, they're certainly the ones that are definitely coming to town meeting.
Yeah.
And have a real civic interest in what's going on anyway,
Right,
so. I
right.
mean,
So
it
you
is-
really want to give them the content.
Yeah, it literally is the perfect forum for us, so.
Sure, sure.
Peter, could you tell me the dates again?
May 3rd is the,
Right, that's what I got.
is the,
A public forum, I
that's,
think.
yeah, that's the,
forum.
yeah.
5 o'clock, right?
And then April 1 is our,
May 1.
is what we've advertised
The public
April
hearing.
1.
for the public, yeah,
April 1 is the public hearing.
right, exactly.
Make sure I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'll sit down with Tom and we'll go over
Yeah.
what my introductory remarks are.
Yeah.
I don't want to get big involved and I want to get right to the presentation.
Yeah, no, I think that's, that's exactly where we need to be. I mean, everybody has, 5-10 minutes and then, get right to it.
So you
This is
took
the
it,
OCF one.
Hmm?
This is the OCF one.
Well,
For
we're
both,
gonna use the
actually.
same presentation format, for all of them.
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes.
just want to make sure. Okay, so April 1 I got in there,
Yeah,
and the OCF is when?
the third, I think?
5-3, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Five-
the third, yeah.
5-3.
There it is, yeah, May 3rd.
Yes.
Okay, all
May
right.
3rd, yeah. Oh, yeah,
OCF.
April 1 is a Saturday?
Yep,
yeah.
yeah, April 1 is a Saturday, which actually is just the Saturday after this. So with that being said, we need to now finish this up within a week.
Yeah,
What time of day is that gonna be?
That is at 10 a.m. in the Nauset Room Town Hall.
yep.
So, Mr. Chairman, I was just looking at the slides, saying,
So excuse me, the 4-1 one, who publicizes that? Is that just,
We have to have a,
oh, that's a requirement?
Yes, that's a public
Okay.
notification.
and I think we already got those ads out for that.
I can't, I haven't
Already-
seen that.
I already submitted them. We
Yeah,
did
I
this
know.
like a month ago.
I haven't seen it, and I'm assuming it's gonna be in this week's Cape Cod,
I'm
but,
gonna double check, ad for, public hearing.
And then it comes out on the website or something too? Or is
It'll be on the website.
right,
it-
yeah.
Yeah, it should be on the website. I'll confirm it all, because it already all went out like a month ago.
Yeah, no, we were, yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
3.5 weeks ago when we, 3 weeks ago?
So I was just looking at the slides real quick, and just guesstimating, you know, Mr. Fuller, 3 slides, 5 minutes. Pete, you got 4, say 5, a lot of the other slide, 5 slides, I'd say 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, there's 15, I'm 10, there's 25 minutes. And then put Jeff on, worst case 10, I don't think we'll go over 35. I think
Yeah.
35 max, we
Okay.
should be able to.
Well,
Nah, I'm just.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we want to keep
Yeah.
it short.
yeah, okay,
If anyone needs to,
so we'll shoot for 40.
it's me. So,
Yeah, I just don't know.
We'll bring a
I mean,
buzzer.
If there's gonna be variables, it's gonna be on Jeff and Joe, so.
Yeah, that's right, I didn't even mention
that-
Joe, I haven't heard anything from Joe on this.
Yeah,
I sent him an email, I haven't heard from him on it, so presentation, he'll say a few words at the end, so yeah, you're probably right, we'll probably be like for a good 40 minutes.
I think his primary contribution is gonna be what's happening with the marketplace, but.
Yeah.
But he may have a couple of thoughts he may wanna add to that, too.
Peter, I think the thing we want to stress is the extra cost of delay.
Oh, yeah.
That needs to be a running thread through this thing.
Well, that was,
Yeah.
I think the first or second meeting we had was that we were not gonna stage this only because of the cost. I think, what was it, like,
It was
like
17
$3.5 million if we built
Yeah.
out over time, so we,
An additional
Right.
4 or 5 million.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have the tacit support of the revenue committee that,
Yep.
although there may be a lot of things going on in town, the cost of delay is more.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, quite frankly, the Revenue Committee is where some of these questions have been coming specifically about the cold storage thing, so.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
I'd just add, if you don't mind, that the cost is, you know, there's an absolute escalation of the cost if you're going to build the same thing a year later. But there's opportunity cost and operational cost, which means that, you know, you've still got to operate an inefficient department until you have your new facility, so there's that extra year in there. There's also a kind of a psychological aspect to what the market sees. If a town gets cold feet and holds off, you can pretty well bet that the next round of pricing is going to have an escalator in it, over and above normal inflation.
Well, all you have to do
So-
is, you know, look at Eastham, they put off water and put off water and put off water, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden it was, you know, not only did they have, you know, a lot of legal consequences,
Yeah.
they got the same system for a lot more money.
Exactly.
So I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
It does send a pretty strong signal to the market.
I think there's a pretty good awareness of that in the community.
And there is some movement in interest rates now.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, yep.
Mr. Chair, just, was it the fire department here in Orleans where they waited a little bit and then they're paying more for a small building? Was that the fire department?
No,
It's the police department.
that was 89 when we
I'm
did
just
the,
trying to remember, one of the buildings in town, I was trying to remember who told me that, it
Yeah.
could have been John Kelly. One of the buildings in town, we waited and we got less of a building.
Yeah.
library maybe?
Paid more, maybe.
It would have to be the
Yeah.
library renovation, so.
Yeah.
I could think of.
That's surprisingly common.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you've waited,
Town
Yeah.
hall
the price is gonna go up.
came in under budget,
Yeah.
fortunately.
yeah, yeah.
Peter, what's the date of town meeting?
April 8th?
May.
I'm sorry, May 8th, is that right?
5th, I
I
thought
got
you
it right
said.
there.
I think it's.
Oh,
No, 5th
No.
is when we go to the selectmen. I think
Selectmen.
May
it's-
8th.
I think 8th,
May
yeah.
8th, and then the town vote is 2 days later.
Yeah.
May 8th, which is, it's a Monday. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
Monday.
that's right, it's a Monday.
Yeah. 6:30.
I think it's May 8th.
Mhm.
And then, The election would be May 16th, I believe.
Yes, it is.
We don't think about stuff like that, John. We'll leave that to you.
Well, part of the election is the second part of voting.
Oh, well, wait a minute, yeah, I retract that statement. All right,
Mr. Chairman, I'm in the process right now of scheduling some elective surgery, important elective surgery, and they're trying to schedule it on May 2nd. How important do you feel my presence is to be there on May 3rd?
if you weren't there, I don't think it would be the end of the world.
Well, no, but I'm debating what to do with this because this is important to get done.
I think I'm going to leave that option to you, Herb.
Okay.
I think we could cover the bases. If you feel that it's that strongly about being there, then you can, adjust your schedule accordingly. But I think we'll be able to,
Okay.
The May 3rd format is you wouldn't be involved at all,
Okay.
or I wouldn't be. It's, the
Right.
questions are going to be directed to whoever's on the dais.
right.
So,
Far more important for me to be at town meeting on the 8th.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, that would be,
And that's 6 days. I might be a little black and blue, but I could still be there.
well,
as long as
we
you're
could
only
make up
black and blue.
plenty of stories for that, Herb.
Blame that on the contractor or the designer.
All right, so we don't have any minutes. Does anybody else have anything they want to include here? Okay, well then I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, and do I hear a vote?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, well, we are adjourned.